Welcome to the Quantum Manifestation Podcast. This podcast is designed to help you unlock your infinite potentiality and live your most successful and fulfilling life by eliminating the beliefs that are slowing you down or holding you back. I share quantum energy sessions, tips, tools, insights, and bring on industry-leading guest speakers to support you in embodying your next level through quantum manifestation, helping you to live your most aligned, authentic truth so that it becomes a natural unfolding rather than proving, pleasing, pushing, and forcing. Join me to create and live in the reality of magic, miracles, and exponential growth. Hi, Jocelyn Sandstrom, and welcome to this week's episode. In this episode, we are going to be doing quantum energy downloads to help you to create and live a life that you don't need a vacation from, and to amplify your manifestations, magic, miracles, and exponential wealth in your every single day life. I'm very mindful about creating a life that I don't need a vacation from because I just got so tired of being burnt out all the time and having to have a vacation and then being on vacation and feeling good and then having to come back to the life that I didn't want to come back to. So I decided to make this life as amazing as possible, and that took me being mindful and aware and helping me to put in boundaries and helping me to go into my soul knowing and know what's important, what's going to bring the most value to my vision so that I can take the step that's going to bring the most value versus just doing things all the time to feel busy, to feel like I'm doing something and poking my nose in everybody else's business, pulling my energy into me and discovering what's going to bring the most value to my vision. And that vision is my entire life. That's my business, my relationships, my self-care, my adventure, my fun, my love, everything. And once I started doing that, I got clarity. I discovered what was mine and what wasn't mine. I was able to cultivate the inner power to hold boundaries that were uncomfortable, to do things that were uncomfortable, because I knew that if I did them, I was going to be able to create a life for all of us, for me, for my whole family, my friends, my clients, and then for the world, of a different way of doing things, of being able to create a life that sets our soul on fire, and that so when we go on vacation, it's just like another chapter of our life, so that it doesn't become this thing where it's like, I really, really needed this vacation. And that when you're in your everyday life, you long for it. And I also love deepening this. So every single month, I deepen this. Each month, I create more ease in my life. I create more flow in my life. I create more magic, more adventures. I fall in love with the things that I get to do. And then I realize that I get to create the magic in my world. I'm not the victim to my circumstances at all. And I always work on deepening this. So before I went on vacation, I noticed that there were moments in that week leading up to vacation that I was like, oh, I just wish I was on the plane already, because then I didn't have to worry about all these things, or I just got to get through this and then I can get on the plane, and once I'm on the plane, I can relax, right? And so when I got those moments, I was very aware that I don't desire to have those moments. I desire to love this life as much as I love the vacation, so that when I step on the plane, it's just another step in my life. It's not this like thing that's going to give me permission to enjoy my life. So in those moments that I noticed that, I closed my eyes and I'm like, well, who am I being right now that's overwhelming myself, that's making me want to just get on the plane and avoid this and escape? What thoughts am I thinking? Where am I overdoing it? Do I need to take a rest to recharge my batteries? Do I need to slow down? A lot of the times it's me just slowing down and then discovering the meaning and the pressure that I'm putting on these things. I'm putting these, deadlines on myself that I don't need to. And I get to just do what I get to do, enjoy it, and then let it unfold into the next process. Instead of like putting all this pressure and this meaning, and if I have to get this and da-da-da-da-da, it's not going to be the end of the world. Yes, there are things that we do have deadlines for, and so we get to prioritize them, and we get to say, okay, well, what's actually not as important? Right now, I'm making everything mean it's all important. I have to get all these things done, so I'm become a doing machine instead of a living machine. So now I get to look at all those things and discover priorities, what's actually important, what actually really does need to get done before I leave, and then what can get done after I leave or while I'm on my trip, or all of these things. Where can I give myself grace give myself space to breathe, and then regulate my nervous system, pull my energy in so that I can do the things relaxed, which means that I'm going to be more efficient, which means that I'm going to have more energy, and I'm also going to create more time because I'm not in this frantic mess that's like going all over the place, responding to this and that and this and that. It's like the tortoise and the hare, right? Like we can be the hare and we can rush and then crash and rush and crash, or we could be the tortoise who's just enjoying the journey, who's just looking around at the journey, taking the steps that he's going to take every single day, knowing that if he just keeps taking those steps as he's enjoying the journey and not burning out, he's going to get there. And he's going to be a lot more consistent, and he's going to enjoy his life so much more. So whenever I noticed before the trip that happened, I'd pull myself back in. I did a post on this, and I also mentioned that one of the things that came to me is I remembered this one trip that my husband and I took to Thailand. And it was at a time in my life where there was just so much pressure. We were like at the peak of our careers, and there was so much going on, and I wasn't handling the pressure very well. Plus there was a lot going on in my family, and I made all these things mean things, and I was just driving myself crazy with my thoughts, all the stuff going on in my head. So we needed a vacation. We booked a trip to Thailand. We booked a beautiful villa which had a chef and an infinity pool. It had all the amenities, so we didn't even have to leave the villa. All we got to do is go there and enjoy each other and relax and just be. And so we get there, and both of us needed this vacation. But the first day I could not relax. No matter what I did, I couldn't unwind. I was just wound so tight from all the stories in my head and everything that I made it mean and all the illusion of the pressure that I put on myself. And then I consciously unwound until the next day. I don't know if it was the next morning or the next night, where there was a moment where I just had this clarity, and I'm like, wow. And I took this big out breath, and I'm like, oh, I just get to be. And I remembered who I was. I remembered I was like, all of that stuff that was going on in my head was just nonsense. It was just rubbish, and I was driving myself nuts. I was like, it was like, stop the madness. And now I'm here, and I'm just being, and I'm like, actually everything is exactly perfect the way that it needs to be. All of that was nonsense. And so in that moment, I remember that clarity, and I remember that peace in my soul. And then from that moment on, I was able to truly just be in the vacation with my husband and be there enjoying the moment, enjoying the food, enjoying the pleasure, enjoying our relationship, enjoying everything fully. And so that week leading up to my trip this time, anytime I started to get overwhelmed, I would just close my eyes and bring myself back to that moment, that aha moment for me on that trip in Thailand, and bring myself back to that moment and that remembrance and that clarity. And then all the stories that I had in my head would melt away. And then I enjoyed the rest of the week or that day in that peace, in that knowing. And then I did the steps that I needed to, but without pressuring myself and without overwhelming myself. Of course, throughout the week, there were different trials and there were different things that I got to, play with and practice this with. But my whole goal was to say, how do I get to play with this week to make this week just as magical as my vacation? How do I get to have these boundaries and self-care and put good meaning on all of these things? And then step onto the plane with ease. And it was the most beautiful transition. Normally, when you get on the plane, it's just like, For me, it was just another step. And I was more proud of myself for that than the fact that we were going on vacation. So vacation was really just icing on the cake. The other thing is, even on vacation, we can still make stuff be crunchy. And I thought, like when you're on vacation, it's so easy to enjoy yourself when everything is amazing, when you're in the best place and the weather is amazing and all of those things. But if things aren't perfect, that's where we get to create the magic. So on this trip, we were lucky enough to go on my father-in-law's boat. And so we spent almost 3 weeks on the boat in BC, going to all these beautiful little inlets and marinas, exploring all the islands outside of Vancouver. And it's always been magical. We've been lucky enough to do this for 3 years in a row. And each time it's more and more amazing. And so when we're in this most beautiful place with the most beautiful weather, you don't even have to try to enjoy yourself. You just enjoy yourself. And that's kind of like the urban monk. When you're a monk in the monastery, to be able to be in the zone and to have that clarity consistently and every single day do your meditation, it's completely different than you now, or you being on a retreat, than taking all that knowledge and bringing it back to your everyday life with the bills and the house and the relationship and the work and the responsibilities, right? But that's why we came here, to experience this world. We came here, some of us did come to experience being in a monk in a monastery and everything being perfect, and that's amazing. And they also have their own challenges as well too that they get to overcome. But then most of us did come here to be able to bring that magic to our every single day life. And so the real test for me is when the weather's not so good, or whether things don't go the way I had planned. And so I play with this every single day. So we were supposed to have one more night on the boat before we came into dock, but the wind was going to pick up. And so we had to come in a day early. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been very comfortable to come back and not as safe, right? So especially with my 5-year-old. So we came back a day early. And I noticed as we were coming back, there was frustration building up. And I was just so disappointed that we didn't have that one extra night in this beautiful space that we're at, that I could, do my cold plunge, because at night the water was so cold, and I got to do my ice pool baths every single night. And I was thinking about all the things that I was going to be missing in this crystal clear, beautiful water, and paddleboarding out in pure nature. I was thinking about all the things that I was going to miss. So, and all the things that we weren't going to get to do when we went in and docked. And I started getting frustrated and disappointed. And then I remembered that I don't desire to feel frustration and disappointment. So I was thinking, what am I making it mean in my head? What am I focusing on that's causing this frustration and this disappointment? And then I realized that I'm not a victim to my circumstance. I don't need to be in the most incredible place to have fun and for it to be magical. I get to make every single day magical. And so as soon as I had that awareness, as we were coming back in, I decided, not just for me, but for my son, my husband, my father-in-law, for the whole trip, that I was going to make this the most magical day of the entire trip. So I was going to change my mindset. And so the first thing I did was just be like, I'm so grateful that at least we still get to be on the boat. I don't need to be in all of these places for it to be amazing. I just get to still be on the boat. And so then I went to go and give my son a hug, and I'm like, oh, this is so magical. I get to feel my son, the miracle that he is, how hard I tried to bring him into this world, and the miracle that he is, that I get to have him here in my life and I get to enjoy him. And then I gave my husband a hug, and the same thoughts going through my head, and all the gratitude that I felt from my father-in-law that we were able to go on this beautiful adventure together and have the most incredible trip. And then I started looking around, and I started only focusing on the beauty that I was seeing as we were coming into the docks. Yes, I could feel the collective consciousness and the collective unconsciousness and the energy as I was coming back into town, because we were out on the islands, and so the energy there is so calm, so peaceful. There's no Wi-Fi, it's no electricity on some of these islands. So it's just like pure stillness. And so I could feel as we were coming back into so-called civilization, but I didn't focus on that. I focused on the bits of nature that I could see that were beautiful. And I just kept focusing on those things and thinking, like, how could I just feel being on this boat and really treasure still being on this boat with my loved ones. We get to dock, and of course, it's not as pretty as the other places we were, but I looked for the most beautiful spot, and it was cloudy, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. This is still going to be magical no matter what, because I get to make it magical. So as I was cooking dinner, I was looking out into the trees and just so in love with the trees and watching the wind blow the trees and the leaves and just feeling the sensations of it. And then all of a sudden the sun started to come out through the trees, and it was the most beautiful, magical sun and sunset that was coming through it. And I just closed my eyes and I felt it, and I just felt deep gratitude for this. We ended up going paddleboarding in that area as well too, and I actually enjoyed that so much more than some of the other places that we stayed, because I got to make it magical. And I knew that if I could make that magical, when I come home to my life, I can bring that magic even more into my life. I knew that I didn't have to control everything anymore, that I didn't have to make the outcome and the circumstances be a certain way in order for me to enjoy myself. I get to enjoy myself no matter what. And so I brought that magic with me back home. I brought that surrender and that knowing with me back home, that actually I don't have to be afraid for anything. I don't have to have, the perfect everything. I get to make it amazing. I get to make it magical. I get to surrender and I get to enjoy every single moment, knowing that when I show up every single day taking aligned action, that aligned action is going to take me to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. And each day and each week, my life just gets more and more magical and I get closer to my vision, which my vision then expands with me. The closer I get, my vision gets to expand as well. Because I'm working on my vision from desire, not from longing. If you're working on your vision from desire, and your desire is the thing that's inspiring you, but you're so full of gratitude for this life that you're living, and you're in such deep gratitude living this life like the version of you that dreamed of this life. Like if you think about that version of you that dreamed of this life that you're living right now, live it for them. Like live it how they would live it. Live it with the excitement and the love that you have for everything. That's why when I hug my son, I think about all the years I wished to have a baby. And so when I hug him for the version that I used to be, that dreamed about this. And I feel those feelings. I live this life for that version of me as I create my next life. Before, it used to just be longing. Before, it was always like, there's my vision and I wish I was there. And when I'm there, I'll be happy. And I know that once I get that, my life will change and all of these things. And then I get there, but then I'm on to the next thing. And so I never actually lived my dream. So now we get to live our dream in every single moment of every single day. And we get to make everything magical. And when we do that, we open up synchronicity. Not only do we create more time and energy for ourselves because we're not under pressure anymore, but we open up synchronicity and the universe starts dropping in more things out of the blue, not just the big things for your business. So yes, opportunities are going to come into your inbox and you're going to have, chance encounters and all of these things that are magical, but I'm talking about your every single day life as well too. Like the story that I mentioned, that when I forgot my son's toys, and when I told him, don't worry about it, we're magic and miracles, we'll figure something out. And we get down to the beach and we dig in the sand and we find a wizard, a Lego wizard. And we're like, oh my gosh, absolutely magic and miracles. Or when I'm, going to the beach with my son and there's this one beach that I absolutely love, but there's a long line to be able to get in for the parking. And that's why the beach is so nice, is because the parking lot there is so small. And so there's not that many people at it. And I knew that if I just sat there knowing that it's going to work out exactly at the divine timing that it needs to. So what do I get to do in the meantime? What action steps do I get to take? And it was, we'll get ready in the car. So we started getting ready in the car. And as we were getting ready, 3 cars pulled out and we pulled in. There was 2 cars left. And then right before I finishing my sunscreen, 2 cars pulled out, one for me and one for the person behind me, because we don't just manifest for us, we manifest for everyone around us, right? It's for me, for us, and the whole world. And I just knew that the universe would co-create with me if I was just in aligned action, and if I was just in the knowing, and if I was just in the surrender. Now we get to manifest these things, but we also have to remember that we need to be detached from it. Because if not, if I was like, okay, this has to happen and I'm going to get ready, and by this point, the universe better get me a parking stall, I can guarantee you that wouldn't have happened. But because I'm manifesting these things, it's like, yeah, it would be amazing. Imagine if by the time I'm done getting ready, the parking stall would be there magically. So of course it's gonna, I just have a knowing that that's the way it's gonna work, because that's the way it works. And if it's not, I'll figure something out. I'll do something else in the car that's going to make it fun, instead of being frustrated that I'm here in the car. Or even when I play with the weather. I play with the weather all the time, and I've created the most unbelievable weather shifts, which I'll share in another podcast. But the way that I do it is because, imagine if it's going to be sunny, and if it's not, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to make it magical anyways. Nothing is going to take the magic out of this day, because I'm going to find a way to make it magical. And when I do that, all these things open up. Like my friend and I, we went to go buy something in the store last night, and there was a huge lineup, but I wasn't worried about the lineup. It didn't frustrate me or anything. I was just like, okay, well, it's all in divine timing. Something's gonna happen and it's all gonna work out. And then all of a sudden this lady comes up and taps us on the shoulder and says, hey, are you ready to check out? And I said, yeah. She's like, here, I'll take you at the back. And so she walked us all the way into the back, into our own little line that she opened up for us to check out. Magic and miracles get to be in our life always, always, if we cultivate it. So then you then also get to call in the bigger things for your business and for your relationships. If you're looking for a partner, like when you are in alignment and you are in the zone, the universe gets to drop more in, and we are taking more aligned action, so it gets to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you're not taking aligned action, and if you're looking for all of the things that are going wrong in your life and the things that you're lacking, it's never going to turn into anything. You're just going to be stuck there, and it's just going to be going around and around and around. So these fractals are going to help you. We're going to see what fractals you need to help you to shift this a lot faster. So one of the first fractals coming up is being strong in your skin. Knowing that you are worthy and deserving. You're more than enough. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Owning your infinite power from your infinite soul, and then bringing that powerfully and vulnerably to the world. Bringing your unique magic to the world. Because we are all worthy, deserving, and powerful. If you use the example where, you know, people say sometimes like, oh, I don't have confidence. But you are so confident that you don't have confidence. You're confident. You're confident that you don't have confidence. Or I can't trust, right? But then you can trust that you can't trust. We have all the power within it. It's the meaning that we're making it mean that's disempowering us, that's holding us stuck, that's keeping us frozen here from being able to move forward. And the next fractal coming up is grid axis. So helping you to open up to the spiritual realm and channel the creative solutions, giving yourself space to be able to channel the creative solutions. Because if you're constantly on the merry-go-round doing, proving, pleasing, caught up in everything, saying you never have enough time because you have to do all these things, you're going to keep caught on that merry-go-round. Einstein says you can't solve a problem from the same thinking that you created it with. So you got to get off the merry-go-round, you got to give yourself space, and you got to channel the creative solutions so that you can create different results. So then you have removing the overthinking and the overanalyzing so that you could get out of your head and drop down into your body. Drop down into the knowing of your body, the infinite wisdom from your infinite soul. I have a soul evolution process that's so powerful that if you want, just DM me and I'll send it to you. And if you do this every single day, it'll help you to get out of your head into your body to discover the next breadcrumb, the next step of evolution, the things that are going to be the most valuable aligned action that are going to help you to create bigger results versus just the doing all the time for everyone and everything and having like all these things that you need to do and being so consumed by it, but running in the same place, you know what I mean? Or doing the cha-cha back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So this is going to help you to get out of the overthinking, to stop the madness, to get into your body, into your knowing, to give yourself space to have that clarity so that you can be more effective, so that you could have more time and energy. Because anytime we're overthinking and we're ruminating in our head, it's like an energy suck. It's like draining all the energy out of our body, all the life force that we're wasting on all these potential outcomes and the worries and the fears and all these things, instead of us just taking aligned action, instead of us just knowing that if we take action every single day, we're going to get there with pure surrender, knowing that we're going to get there. It's like the post that I shared the other day about going to the gym, where I didn't realize before I left for the trip, even though I was very mindful about not doing it for the result, I didn't realize that I was still doing it for the result. So I was at the gym when I came back and I was like, wow, I'm really enjoying the gym today. And it was because I fully trusted in the class and the program of, the class, that if I just show up and do these things, it's gonna get me the results that I desire, because these classes are designed by an expert. So I don't need to analyze and be like, oh, but there's not enough of this and not enough of that. I realized before I left, I was doing that. And I was like, oh, but actually I want more of this and more of that. It's not fast enough. How do I make it faster and all of this? But when I came back, none of that mattered because when I came back, I made the choice to not do it for the results. I made the choice to do it because I love to do it, because I get to do this. Everything in my life now, I get to do this. I'm not doing it to do it to get the results, to measure the results. I get to do it because I get to do it. And I know that if I do it in aligned action, the results are inevitable. It is impossible for me to go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week and not receive results. So now I just get to trust in the system, trust in the program that they set up for me, enjoy every single exercise with pure surrender, pure joy, knowing that it is inevitable. A month from now, I'm going to look back and be like, wow, look at the progress I received, right? And so we just got to get out of our head, because I was wasting so much time and energy in there still trying to make it, all these things. And I didn't enjoy it. It became work to me. But sometimes we need to get out of our life to get perspective and then bring that magic back into our life. So then you have decisions, helping you to make decisions from your soul knowing versus your conditioned mind, versus other people's opinions, versus other people's journeys, that they're telling you what you should do. But we're not here to should or have to. We're here because we get to. We're here because we get to experience this most unbelievable life. If you actually feel the feels, and I'm not just saying feel the good feels, we also feel the bad feels, so-called bad feels, because it's through those feels, through the shadow, that we create these shifts and these breakthroughs and surrenders that then take us to this whole other level that we then get to feel. But we never would feel that if we weren't here. You can't feel the feelings of being on the top of the mountain if you haven't started on the bottom of the mountain. When I claimed Kilimanjaro, and at the top when we hit the blizzard, it was intense and it was tough. But because we had the blizzard, it made summiting that much more enjoyable, because I went through the blizzard versus it just being me summiting. Like, I loved the fact that we got to go through the blizzard and then on the way down go through a hailstorm, because then it took my whole experience to the next level. I was able to bring so much more strength out in myself than if it was just easy. And so we have to stop trying to avoid the difficulties and try and just make everything easy and perfect. We get to grow through it and we get to experience it, because we know once we do, it's going to become our superpower. If that's what we make it mean. It's all what we make it mean, and it's all how we look at it. So then you have removing the doubt to bring more stability. So a lot of energy is spent doubting whether it's going to work. But I know that our soul communicates to us what it came here to experience in this life through our desires, through our visions, through our goals. So if I'm desiring this, and I've been desiring it for a long time, and it's a vision, it's my passion, it's what I want to bring into the world, I know that my soul chose to experience this into this world. And so I have no doubt that it's going to happen if I follow the breadcrumbs every single day and take aligned action to the things that are going to bring me the most value, even if they are uncomfortable, knowing that that's where I get to stretch. That's where I get to grow to become the version of me that just naturally unfolds and drops into my life. So once you can really own that and take on that belief code, if it resonates with you, you're not going to waste all this energy doubting as you're taking the steps. Just like at the gym where I was like trying to even control the class. It's like we just get to go and do it because we get to do it knowing that the results are inevitable. It is impossible. If we don't give up and we continue to harvest the learnings, pivot, transmute, innovate, we will get there. But if we just stay here and go around and around in our head and we're not brave enough to do the uncomfortable things, we won't get there. We'll just be stuck here. Eventually we'll get there. We may get there slower, but I'm not here to do things slow, which is why I created my programs, so that I can support my people to be able to get in the zone, stay in the zone, so that we get to amplify our manifestations and we get to fall in love and create a life that sets our soul on fire, live it, and then bring in this unbelievable next level beyond our wildest dreams. So then the next fractal coming up is spiritual balance and transformation. So helping you to really decide that you've lived through your conditioned mind up until this point in your life, and now you desire to live through your soul. Your conditioned mind created what exists. Your conditioned mind only knows how to create what exists or what exists in the world. But your soul knowing, the thing that people channel, like a lot of people say they dreamt about it, and because they dreamt about it, they brought it into this reality. That's your soul giving you something, that's bringing something into this world that's going to be different than something that ever existed before. And so I tell my conditioned mind all the time to let go of the steering wheel, because I'm going to live my soul experience now. I'm going to channel from my soul what's going to create something beyond my wildest dreams. And I'm going to let my soul take me on the ride of my life. And so I'm just in that transformation. And a lot of the things that it's telling me to do don't make sense to people around me, but that doesn't matter, because I trust in my soul knowing, because I've cultivated every single day. It's what I help my clients to do. And the more that you cultivate that every single day, it just becomes an unfolding, and you get to enjoy the process of it so much more. You open up the synchronicity, you open up the flow, you open up your magnetism, because when you're lit up by your life, your energy fields are so big. It can reach so much farther, and you're so much more magnetized. People desire to be in your energy, versus if you're here, they can't feel that. And so you're doing it all on your own, pushing, forcing, pleasing, all of that. And it's so much harder, and it's so much more draining. And I used to do that, and it's exhausting, and I'm done with that. And so that's why I created what I created in my everyday life. And then I bring that to my clients, because we get to do it this different way. It gets to be easy. It gets to be magical. It gets to be fun. It gets to be all, we get to have it all. It was just a belief that we couldn't, a belief that we took on from our ancestors, society, wherever it is that we took it on from. And we get to put that down so that we get to install new belief codes that are going to take it to the next level. A next level that you can't even imagine, because it's not coming from your conditioned mind, it's coming from your soul. It's like all these times where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this ever happened. I never would have thought of it. There's things in your life where you're looking back and you're like, oh my gosh, I never would have imagined I would be here in this moment. I couldn't even have planned for it. But it took a couple of little things and synchronicity to drop into your life to bring you to this place beyond what you could have imagined. So stop trying to figure it out, because when you try and figure it out, you kill the magic. Cultivate that inner knowing and that faith without evidence, knowing that if you follow it every single day, it's going to take you to the most incredible places. Then you have validate yourself, which goes again with just really owning your power. The more that you self-validate, the less you need other people to validate you. So the less you're going to be living your life for them, and the more you're going to be living your life for yourself. When you live your life for yourself, you're going to have so much more clarity. You're not going to be going back and forth in the yo-yo thinking, but they're not going to like it, and this person's not going to like it. What are they going to think about this and all of that? You're living your truth now. You're not living everybody else's life anymore. You're living your truth, and you're living your life. And it's so funny, because I noticed a huge difference in my social media, where before I was like, I'd have to make these perfect posts, and I'd have to put it through the grammar and check the grammar and make it sound smart and all of these things, and make sure that these people, like it was going to reach these people and what I thought I needed it to be. And I didn't get much traction on it. But there was this moment where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to speak my truth, because I'm channeling source, and my authentic truth and my unique magic that I'm going to bring to the world. There's people out there that are waiting for that. And so I didn't filter. I started to not filter my posts as much, and I started to go live. And those are the ones that people resonate with. And I realized that my magic isn't from making it sound professional and making it sound like all these other people. It's my truth. It's my language. It's my lived experience that I'm then sharing with people. Like I go through it, and then I shift it, and then I share it. And those are the things, especially because I'm a line 3 in human design, my authenticity, my words, my truth are the things that are connecting with my people. But when I tried to be what everybody wanted me to be, it killed my social media. So play with that. It's the craziest thing, because to me, I'm like, oh, but this doesn't sound smart enough. But I was like, I don't care. This is my truth. I'm putting it out. Let's see what happens. I never expected what happened to happen. So look in your life and discover, where am I suppressing myself or trying to fit in or make it sound a certain way or do it a certain way for the external? And where do I get to self-validate myself? knowing that what my authentic truth is what the world's actually waiting for, what the relationship that I'm looking for is actually waiting for, what's causing all my health problems because I'm trying to be what everybody else wants or not loving myself the way, and burning out and exhausting myself, versus living a life that lets my soul on fire. And when I live a life that I love, I release all the good hormones and I boost my immune system, and everything just starts flowing. So then you also have really just building that foundation of self-validation. So you're no longer, you also got you're not the sum of others' opinions. So you're no longer living the automatic thoughts of other people's opinions. They get to have their opinion, and that's their opinion. You get to have your opinion, and it's your opinion. But this is your life. You have to live it, not them. So pull it all in and live your best life, knowing that when you do, you become an inspiration. And that inspiration and that spark is going to open up. And everywhere you go, if you live that inspiration and you make every single day magic, miracles, and exponential wealth, and if you only look for magic and miracles and exponential wealth in your life and not lack, you're going to create that morphic field. Every room that you step into, you're going to activate it. Things are just going to start flowing, and you're going to know that they're going to start flowing because you're going to feel it in there. And then because you feel it, it's going to start flowing even more. And if it doesn't, you'll work it out. You'll harvest, you'll pivot, you'll transmute. But it doesn't matter, because you know no matter what, you're going to make it magical. And then it just opens up this whole other realm that you play with. Like me and my son and my husband, we play with this all the time. And we're just like, oh my gosh, of course. You know, like it just becomes this funny thing. Like I was changing the weather for over half of the trip when we were in Canada with my father-in-law, and now my father-in-law is telling people Jocelyn can change the weather. You know, like we're playing with these things and we're having so much fun with it. But if I was trying to do it to prove to him that I could change the weather, or to prove to myself that I could, or know that if it wasn't sunny, it was going to be a bad day, I can guarantee you none of that would happen. So now I'm going to download you. So everybody take a deep breath. So have fun with this. If you have any questions, let me know. I do run a free mastermind every couple of months. So if you want to join the waitlist, DM me. I'll add you to the waitlist. And if you want the soul evolution process as well, DM me. If you're ready to just go all in, like you can do this on your own. Absolutely. Every single day you can. But it's so much more powerful to do it together, which is why I don't work out at home by myself. I have a class that I show up to, and I trust in the process, and I trust in what they're doing. So I get to show up and I take aligned action every single day. So I don't have to worry and think about it. Like I get to be in the movement of a collective that's shifting in this way. I get to be in the energy of everybody that's there, that's amped up, that's playing full out. So then I play more full out. I show up in a different way than if I was to show up in my living room. Or that's why I'm in my mentors programs, because yeah, I have all this knowledge and I'm doing it and I'm working with it. But to be able to plug into a different morphic field with people that are all playing full out and be in that energy. And then if I'm having a low week and I plug into it, it just amps me up, right? Like it's the thing that helps me to also make space for my growth. Because otherwise I could say, yeah, I'll work on that tomorrow, and tomorrow might never come. Whereas if I know there's something that's coming up, a webinar or a homework, and I take the time to do it, I give myself time to do it because there's something in my life that's inspiring me to stop and take a moment to work on these things. And that's why I created my programs. It's for me to be able to support you every single week so that we can keep building the momentum every single week. Every week we get to unlock more magic and miracles. We get to discover the beliefs that are getting in the way, the beliefs that aren't serving you, to help you to get off the merry-go-round, to help you to really fall in love with this life and open up the synchronicity so the manifestations get to drop in always, always. And we get to have so much fun doing it with the most inspiring people that are in the programs that are also playing full out. This community of people that see the highest in everybody. And when we create that together, we create a collective shift. If you're ready to go all in, I would love to support you in this. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to break through, shattering all the limitations and creating this whole new reality that you never knew existed, and take everything to the next level. Because when you work on one thing in your life, it affects all aspects of your life. So if you come and work on your business, and we remove the beliefs around that, it's going to affect your relationships, it's going to affect your health, and vice versa. You work on your health and you get more energy, you're going to have more energy and more magnetism to open up your business and relationships. It's all intertwined. So if you're ready and you're not sure which program is a fit for you, you can always DM me and we can hop on a discovery call to see which program is a fit, to see which level you want to come in on. But if not, the links are in my bio, and I look forward to supporting you, working with you, co-creating your unbelievable next level, because together we fly. So have an amazing day.